tonight.
He knows how to get attention. He's, the classic reality TV character.
With Donald Trump surging in the polls, President Obama is taking on the Republican frontrunner.
I don't think he'll end up being president of the United States.
And Debbie Wasserman Schultz rips apart Republicans.
Any one of those candidates is in dramatic contrast to any of the Republican circus performers that are on the other side.
Donald Trump tonight responds to it all.
Am I ready for Hillary? Yes. Am I excited? No.
Then are liberals losing faith in Hillary Clinton?
Down, down, USA!
And a shocking chant at the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March in Washington. We'll have reaction. Hannity starts right here, right now.
And welcome to Hannity Tonight. Donald Trump continues to soar in the polls. A brand new CBS News national poll has Donald Trump in first place with 27% of the vote. Dr. Ben Carson is in second place with 21%, and they are followed by Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush, Carly Fiorina, who are all in the single digits. Now, Trump is shaking up the political establishment with his dominance in the polls, but President Obama, well, he doesn't seem too impressed with the GOP frontrunner. Here's what he said last night when asked about Donald Trump's success and his candidacy on 60 Minutes. Take a look.
He knows how to get attention. He's, the classic reality TV character. And at this early stages, it's not surprising that he's gotten a lot of attention.
You think he's running out of steam? I mean, do you think he's going to disappear?
I'll leave it up to the pundits to make that determination. I don't think he'll end up being president of the United States.
All right, here with reaction, 2016 Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. Why do I guess you really don't care what President Obama says, but I want to give you a chance to react to what he said?
Well, he's got to say that. I mean, he's not going to say, gee whiz, I think he's going to win. He's going to beat the Democrats. He's an intelligent guy. He's going to say that. He had a very bad night last night on 60 Minutes. He looked terrible. In terms of what he was saying, he just was absolutely terrible. And, it was a bad night for him. Everybody saw it. Everybody said the same thing. He has so many problems. He's caused so many problems. And, when they asked a question about me, he's obviously not going to say, gee whiz, I think he's going to win. So that's all he can say. I can't discredit him for that.
Let me ask you two more questions about him. One on the economy, one on foreign policy. We've doubled the debt under Obama. He's accumulated more debt than every other president before him combined. He's put millions and millions more Americans on food stamps, record 46 million, more Americans in poverty, 50 million, 95 million Americans out of the workplace, median income down nearly $5,000 a family, and a 40% increase in health care. What has he done economically, if you can think of anything, that's made the country better?
Nothing. And Obamacare is a disaster. You forgot to mention that. Obamacare is going to really kick in 16 when you'll have a new president. And I have to tell you, it is a disaster. What's going on is, for the next president, that president has better be really competent, because Obamacare is one of the big killers coming about. You know that, Sean. You report on it. And people's premiums are going up 55%, 45%, 50%, like constantly. Deductibles are through the roof. Obamacare, just mark my words, it's going to be catastrophic for the country.
I watched him on foreign policy. It took 3 days after Vladimir Putin, targeted U.S.-trained, U.S.-armed anti-Assad rebels in Syria, where he said he's going to leave now because Vladimir Putin engaged there. And then you look all over the Middle East. It's just one piece of the pie. And then this Iranian deal. Can you name any foreign policy success of Obama?
Well, if you look at the Iranian deal, it may be the worst contract I've ever seen drawn. Now, that includes real estate deals. That includes every kind of a deal. That's all I do is contracts. And one of the dumbest deals I've ever seen. It's going to be catastrophic. In addition to which, we're giving them $150 billion. They are going to be brutal because of us. It's going to be worse than anybody knows, and they will have nuclear weapons, and they are keeping our prisoners, by the way. It's not going to. This whole deal is catastrophic. You look at every single thing he's done. Now, Putin leaves New York. He leaves the United States. He makes his thing at the United Nations, his statement at the United Nations. He sees Obama. 2 days later, he's doing something that he never told Obama about. He's got no respect for our president, to put it mildly. That's a problem, but he's got no respect. And by the way, I guess Obama doesn't like him very much either. but Putin has absolutely no respect for our country or for our president.
Well, he pulled the U.S. troops supporting the Syrian rebels that we've been arming and training. He now pulled out 2 days after they were targeted by Vladimir Putin. You know, there are two comments you made this weekend that I think reflect why you're being successful. And I want to tell you what they were. One, you said Hillary should be in jail. Now, we just learned from Trey Gowdy on the Benghazi committee that she did, in fact, forward a classified email with the name of an undercover operative in Libya, which means if her server was hacked, that individual would die. You said something that very few are willing to say, that you think she shouldn't even be a candidate, that she should be worried about going to jail. Explain.
Well, she shouldn't be a candidate. What she's done is very serious, and everybody else who's done it has either gone to jail or had certain problems like you wouldn't believe. Like, as an example, General Petraeus. He's a respected man, wonderful general, even though, I mean, the whole thing over there was also catastrophic. But he was still a wonderful man, a wonderful general. He did something, and you know what they did with him with 2 years probation and everything else. I mean, they destroyed his life. And what he did is 5% of what she's done. So, look, she's being protected by the Democrats. In my opinion, they won't do anything with her. It's very unfair to everybody else that suffered greatly for far less than what she's done. And she'll probably be a candidate. Now, with that being said, I'd love to run against her because she is so flawed. She's got so many problems. She did such a bad job as Secretary of State. I think she's very beatable, but she shouldn't even be allowed to run.
You know, the other comment that you made that I thought really stood out is you said we are absolutely foolish to take in Syrian refugees, especially because our intelligence agencies have told us ISIS and al-Qaeda will infiltrate the refugee population. If you're a president and they're here, will you send them back?
First of all, the answer is yes, and I'm the first one that said it. I said it loud and strong. We owe $19 trillion. They figured that over a 10-year period, this is going to cost us billions of dollars. But on a humane basis, I want to do something, except for here's the problem. I look at the migration. They're men. There's so many men. They're strong. They're young. The first thing I said is, why aren't all these men fighting for their country? And then second of all, this could be the ultimate Trojan horse. I've been talking about this with a lot of people and you. I mean, this could be the great Trojan horse. We're going to take in 200,000. When I heard 3,000, I said, oh, maybe. Then I heard 5,000 to 10,000. I said, do we have to do it? Can somebody else finally do it? Now they're talking about 200,000 people. And you have to look at this migration. These are strong, young men. Now we're going to put hundreds of thousands of people. I'm telling you, it's probably not a Trojan horse, but the word probably is not acceptable. Why should we be taking chances? Our country's a mess. We have to rebuild our country. We have to rebuild our military. We have to take care of our vets, Sean. We have all these things to do. And now we're going to take in 200,000 people. And by the way, zero documentation. Nobody tells you where they're from. There's no paperwork. There's no one. We have no idea who these people are. We have to be crazy or insane to even think about it. So hopefully that doesn't happen. And I said the other day, you heard me, I said, if it happens and if Obama takes them in, they're going out if I win. They're going back.
Yeah. You know, another thing that came up, I noticed that you spoke at the No Labels event. I think it was in New Hampshire. And a woman said, well, I don't think you're a friend of women. I've been to Trump Towers. I've spent time with both your wife, a lot of time with your daughter. I've seen her every time I've been over there. I know she loves her dad. I will look around your massive offices, and I see men and women and people young and old. A lot of people are working there, thousands, I would guess, total. And I wanted to give you a chance to respond, considering that seems to be a line of attack the left wants to use against you.
Well, seldom. I mean, this was one person. It was actually a great event, and we got tremendous applause and everything else. But one woman did ask about that, and I said, look, nobody respects women more than I do. My mother was the ultimate person to me, the greatest. I mean, there was nobody like my mother. My wife, my daughter Ivanka, my wife Melania are going to be out campaigning very soon, and they already have actually done some. But they're going to be really out heavy league. And they both know how much I respect women. And they always say you have to talk about women because you totally respect women. You cherish women. And I use that word. Hillary said, oh, you shouldn't use the word. I have to use the word, I cherish women, I respect women, and I will do more for women than anybody else because of the way I feel.
Well, here's a follow-up.
I will say this, Sean.
I don't want to interrupt you, but can Hillary, she's running that, she's the great supporter of women. And I look at the silence. She didn't say a word with all of the issues with her husband and women. Is that fair game in the political world? Should it be?
Well, that's a tough one. I mean, that's pretty tough to be talking about, but I will say this. I don't think she has the steam to get in there and do what she has to do. And I can tell you this, Jeb Bush, Rubio, all these guys, they don't have the steam. They don't have what it takes to help. This is a very serious problem. And women really, you know, remember last week, a couple of weeks ago with Jeb Bush on women's health issues, he said he's not going to fund them. I said, why aren't you going to fund them? Ultimately, he recanted and he took it back. But when you make that statement, that's a bad statement. And Rubio feels the same way, so many others. I will be the best thing that could happen to women. I have great respect and admiration for women. I've had women long before in the construction industry. Building this building many years ago, I had a woman in charge. Nobody else had that. So I'm very proud of my record with women.
All right, we're going to take a break. One more segment with Donald Trump right after this. Stay with us, and also coming up tonight.
The 15 Republican candidates that are left, all of whom are trying to out-Trump Donald Trump by saying, yeah, let's kick women, let's kick immigrants out of this country.
All right, DNC Chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz stoops now to a new low. Donald Trump will respond to her outrageous remarks. Also tonight, new trouble for Hillary Clinton ahead of tomorrow's Democratic debate. The latest numbers reveal she has dropped a whopping 10 points in a single week. Stay with us.